Hey, this is Justin with daytradethemarkets.com. It's Tuesday, July 17th, 2018. In today's video, I just wanted to do a quick overview on what we call relative aggression bars and talk about what they are and what they can show you, and use some examples today from the Nasdaq and the S&P and from gold to really show some a case of aggression bars really coming into play. So, just very briefly, let me show you an illustration here of these aggression bars, and we're going to be coming out with some new tools in the near future. But these aggression bars are really foundational to what we do and what we teach, and they're very powerful. And so I want to talk specifically about those. I'm not going to get into the underlying logic behind them, although I can do that in a near video. But right now, I just wanted to talk about what they are, and you can see here that there are three different levels of aggression bars: level 1, level 2, and level 3. We really want to pay attention to level 2 and level 3 especially. Those are the strong and the extreme aggression bars. And these are telling you, number one, what's going on under the surface of the market. In other words, which side, whether it's buyers or sellers, is more aggressive at any given moment in time, whatever time frame you're looking at. And then not only that, but the degree of that buying or selling aggression. Is it moderate? Is it strong? Is it extreme? And if we have that information, we know when the market is, when buyers or sellers are attempting to make a move, and we can tell by how the market reacts to that as to, the path of least resistance. And so when I think about these aggression bars, I think of them as, I like this illustration here. These are not lagging technical indicators. They're not telling you what has happened. It's not telling you what is happening, like price action. It's telling you what's kind of going on under the surface of the market. So if you think about the left image there of looking down at a highway system, that's like a price chart, right? You can see, just looking at it, if price is going up or down. You can see if the cars are going north or south. You can see how fast they're going. You can see if they're slowing down or if they're turning right or left, etc. That's great. That helps. We want to be able to see that. But what we really would love to be able to see is individually, we'd like to be able to see the gas pedal, right? We'd like to see are buyers pumping it hard? Do they have the pedal to the floor? Or are they slowly accelerating? We also have a thing called deceleration, which is like the brake pedal. I'm not going to get into that right now. But the key is really with the relative aggression bars, the possibilities are kind of endless, but I wanted to give a couple examples from today. Not even going to get into the zones or boxes or anything like that, but just looking at aggression bars specifically, give us some examples from today. So here's the NQ, the NASDAQ, and going into the day, we know that our big picture bias is up, so all things equal, we'd rather trade to the long side. We also know that this area here, this zone here, should be support. This is the all-time high, so that's why that's notated, just because there's nothing above it. We would want to know when the all-time high is hit, if so. And you can see, I'm not going to talk about boxes or anything like that, but you can see that as we open into this area of support in here, the first thing we see is a level 3 or an extreme buying aggression bar. And you can see we get some quick follow through. That's telling us that buyers have come in hard. They look at these lower prices at expected support as a pretty good place to, throw their line in the water, so to speak. So the buyers come in a big way. We get some follow through. We see more extreme selling, some strong selling. It's not until this moment right there that we see our first sign of maybe some selling. So you can see here that this is a kind of a tug of war, we call this, where there's a level 3 buying bar and then a level 3 selling bar right after it. And what you can see here is that we get a little bit of follow through. So it looks like this could be a reversal place. We get a little bit of follow through below the level 3 bar, the selling bar, not a full bar though, and pretty soon thereafter it gets taken out. And in essence, the buyers win this tug of war. You can see when we get the next aggression bar right here, this level 3 buying bar above it, this tug of war is essentially won by the buyers. Okay, and that means that the door is wide open for buyers to take it higher. If they can get something going, it would go all the way to, oh, sorry, I don't know what that is. It would go all the way to the all-time high would be the expectation, and that's, you can see what happens. We get some pretty good aggression on the way up, and no selling aggression to speak of. We break through the all-time high, come back and test it, get more good buying aggression. Not till the very end of the day that we see any kind of selling at all. So again, these aggression bars are telling us under the surface, buyers were pretty darn strong today. And obviously we had a pretty good update to begin with. And that was our expectation heading into the day. So when we see the aggression bars are matching what we would expect, that's a pretty good sign. That's a pretty, again, nothing's perfect. It's not the holy grail, nothing like that. But it's telling us that this is a pretty good scenario for buyers today. And so that's what we saw here in the NQ. Here's an example from gold today. Okay, now heading into the day, our big picture bias was down, so all things equal, we'd rather trade to the short side. And you can see that our first extreme bar of the day was this level 3 selling aggression bar. When that's matched up with the down bias, it's telling us these sellers are really trying to push this thing lower, which they do. They take it a ways lower. You can see buyers try to step in off the low. They actually hold, get a little bit of a foothold here, start to put in a little bit more buying until we have, again, another tug of war right there with this level 3 bar, the selling bar that comes in after this level 2 buying bar. You can see that the battle is won down here and really confirmed once this bar comes in. And again, more down would be expected at that point when we see that, especially in a down bias. Okay, so that's just another example of showing that, hey, we kind of expected sellers to be in control of the day. They're confirming it by showing us really good selling aggression through the day. Here was a little tug of war. Sellers won that, probably looking for another leg lower, etc. And here's the E-mini S&P from today. Again, going into the day, we have a big picture bias of up. We have expected support down in this zone here, potential resistance up in this zone up here. And you can see that early on in the day, we had an attempt by buyers to break it out right here. Didn't really go anywhere. So the door was open for sellers to come in here. They never showed up with any kind of decent aggression, okay? So when they can't take advantage, it opens the door for the buyers again. And here we have the same thing. This is the same place we had that little tug of war in the NQ. Similar scenario was going on here. When the buyers ended up winning it, it's kind of off to the races. You can see really good buying aggression throughout the day. Another attempt by the sellers here doesn't really go too far. And buyers are able to come back in again. We see some extreme selling at the end of the day, which tells us the move's probably over. But again, just an example of aggression bars giving you a little bit of a clue when you put those in conjunction with what we're looking at on the bigger picture as well. It can be very helpful. So again, here's a look at the NQ. We saw really good, really extreme selling early on, and then the buyers just took over. Same thing here in gold. We saw a very similar, extreme selling came in pretty early in the day with that. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions about that, let me know. Just wanted to give a little bit of an overview about what aggression bars are. A first way that you can use them is just looking at the power underlying the market at any given time. So I'll dive more into what the logic behind the aggression bars is in another video. Can start to give a little bit more detail on what we call boxes and so forth as well. So, all right, that's good for today. Hopefully you got something out of that. We'll talk again soon.